A few weeks ago, each of the Hill House Summer Youth Camp weeks were asked to produce some material to put online to bless the young people and the leaders who would usually be at camp. One of the things that Week C did was to ask us leaders to talk about one of our favourite Bible verses, and I thought I would share one of mine with you now. It will come as no surprise to the Discovery and CH Cubed young people, or to any of you who may have seen this month's Down End Voice Thought for the Month, or Thought for the Day, I think it's called, that one of my favourite Bible verses comes right at the end of one of my favourite chapters of one of my favourite books of the Bible, Isaiah. In chapter 40, the prophet Isaiah paints a picture of just how great God is. He's so much greater than anyone or anything that ever existed. He speaks of the majesty of God's creation and of the complexity and completeness of his knowledge, and how small and seemingly insignificant humans are. And yet Isaiah also speaks of God's gentleness and his care for his people. No one can compare with God's power and strength and knowledge, and he knows and understands what each of us are going through and what we need. My favourite verse is verse 31, but I'm going to back up a bit and read from verse 28, because the power and truth of that verse depends on the power and the truth of who God is. So, Isaiah chapter 40 from verse 28. The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Amazing words. Can you imagine soaring on eagle's wings, using very little effort, high above the land? Well, there are times when the Christian life seems to be perfect and everything seems like that. You feel close to God. Reading the Bible is a joy. You seem to be able to share your faith with your friends clearly and they seem interested. You love being with the church family. You feel like you're doing stuff that God wants you to be doing and everything's going well with very, very little effort needed. And these times are great. Although if we're honest, for most of us, they don't seem to happen that often. But that's okay, because unlike an eagle, I don't have wings. I don't even like flying, but I do love running. And perhaps that's partly why I love this verse so much. On a long run, I may start off really well, but after a while, my legs get tired, my hips start aching, even my brain doesn't function properly. What I wouldn't give to be able to run and not grow weary. Now, sometimes life gets busy, and it can feel like you're running around doing loads of stuff. Good stuff, maybe, but a lot of it. So maybe having to prepare and lead for CH Cubed for our young people, preparing to lead a community group study, going to school to do mentoring when I'm able to, look after the family, do the housework, not that I'm good at that, host yet another Zoom meeting, visit a friend who's having a hard time, and the list goes on. For each of us, the list will be different, but still sometimes it can feel like you're running around busy all the time, and it can be very easy to get overwhelmed and tired out by it all. And when we try and do it in our own strength, that's when we're likely to wear ourselves out until we crash. But what do these verses say about God? He will not grow tired or weary. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. And those who hope in the Lord, some Bible versions say wait on the Lord, will renew their strength. And that's why it's so important to regularly spend time with God, ideally every day, spending time reading the Bible and praying, and praising God with singing. Even when life feels too busy to stop, I can guarantee that it's better to make meeting with God a priority, even if it means something else doesn't get done. It's when we focus on God and know that we need his help in our lives that we will renew our strength and can keep going even in the really busy times. Now, many of you will know that last year I took part in a bit of a crazy event called the Cotswold Way Ultra, although in truth I only did a quarter of it. On one of the hottest days of the year, I aimed to run 25 kilometres, that's about 15.5 miles, up and down some stupidly big hills to raise money for charity. Now, I've run further than that before, but I have never felt so exhausted on a run. In fact, you could hardly call it a run. I probably walked as much as I ran. And there were times when I really wanted to stop and give up. And sometimes the Christian life can be like that too. Everything feels really tough and almost pointless. You're barely walking, never mind running or soaring. But what kept me going in that event was partly the thought of a medal at the end, knowing that I was raising money for a charity that had really supported a friend of mine, and the support of other people taking part in the run too. And the fact that unless I got to the end where David was waiting for me, I had no way of getting home. And in our Christian life, we also need encouragement to keep us going, even if it feels that we're barely walking. Reminding ourselves of why we're living for God, support from others such as from our church family, reminding ourselves of what is waiting for us when we finish, and daily strength from God himself. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. This is a promise. It's not a maybe. It says they will renew their strength. God promises to be with us always, walking alongside us, cheering us on, getting us to the end, where we will receive the best prize, heaven, eternity with him. That's far better than the medal I got for that race. So whether we're finding life super easy or busy or incredibly hard work and tiring, can I encourage you to make sure that you are looking to God for your strength daily and spending time with him? Whatever life brings your way, he will strengthen you.